I just wanted to gather you all together to talk to you each a little bit. I spent this whole year, as many of you know, thinking about turning the age that I've turned. And I started to have this really powerful yearning come over me to gather my friends together.
Move closer to us.
Well,
In the middle
right
somewhere.
there.
Barbara,
I don't think I should go into the bed.
You have to stay there. You have to stay here.
Michael says I have to stay here. Maybe I'll take Billy's seat. I've lived a lot of different places in Washington, D.C. and New York and Venice and Boston, so I have, and then three different graduate schools too. So I just have friends kind of in lots of different places, and I just felt like I just really, as I said, it was this longing to have everyone be together. And the reason is because I had things that I wanted to tell my friends, that I realized some of you I hadn't ever told you certain things. So that's why I called it a celebration of friends, of a friendship. So I do have a lot to celebrate in my own life right now. That is true. I have my very loyal husband, who I think is still looking pretty hot for him today. So I'm grateful every day. I have my beautiful and very sweet and very smart daughter, Ginevra. I have a wonderful new job, which I think is a rarity at this age to find that happened. And I have my pets who make me smile and make me feel very needed every day. But mostly I really wanted a chance to celebrate all of you. So I have little messages for you. Some of the things I'm going to say, maybe some of you don't know, and some of them are not secrets. So I wanted to start with my friend Karen, who is my longest time friend. We met in preschool and really have been friends ever since, even though we never really went to the same school. We just kept up our friendship. So of course she knows everything about me, but something she may not know, I don't know, is that I modeled a very close friendship in my little book I've been writing. There's a close friendship between the main character and her cousin, who's her best friend, and I modeled it on my relationship with Karen. And there's a line in the book where the main character says, "Things only felt real and true in my life when I shared them with Julieta." But what I really meant is that's how I felt growing up with Karen. That's how things became real for me, is when I told Karen about them. And I still feel that way when something really big is happening. I want to call Karen. And on the subject of growing up, I have many members of my family here. My mother, my sister Jen, my cousin Janie, my sister-in-law Jolie, where did she go? And her mom Sylvia, who's sitting at the end. And I just want to say that all of my family members who are here are really here because they are friends. I feel like each of these women are here because I really like them, I respect them, I love spending time with them, and I think that's pretty neat to reflect on that. And I want to thank my mom and where is my, I've said this to my mom before.
That's hard to pick me out.
Yeah, when she turned 80, but it's really very true that my mom has just always believed in my potential and always made me feel like I had very special, if unusual, gifts. Maybe not everyone appreciated, but there was a place for them. And I feel really grateful that she's lived a long life and been able to see me start to realize some of that. I think she always felt that was possible for me, even when I didn't really think it was, and I'm really happy she got to see that happen. And then I have my friend Billy from junior high school. I will say about Billy that we spent the wildest summer experience I think I've ever had on the beach at, where were we now?
Sea Isle City.
Sea Isle City.
South Jersey.
Say no more.
That's right. So, Billy's my wildest friend here. And my friend Rachel Kramer, who I also met at that same time at summer camp when I was only 13. But Rachel lives in Concord, and we picked up our friendship after I moved there. And over the years, we've taken many, many, many walks with our dogs and kind of just tracked, just kind of growing up, and our children growing up and our growing older together. And just last week, we took a walk and had just an amazing amazing conversation about what it means to turn 50, and it was just, I came home like, you know, it was just, she's such a great listener and a beautiful friend. And another walking partner here is my friend Natasha, who told me today she doesn't want to walk anymore. She wants more dates like this with me. She wants to move up in the world. But we spend a lot of time walking together, and I'll say about Natasha that she always inspires me to be a better friend because she's an amazing listener. And even when she's got a lot of cares on her mind that she has in the last couple of years, she's just always so present and listening. And I feel she's given me some really wise, compassionate advice for the last few years. And my college roommate, Amy, is here, right here. Amy has the distinction that we were matched up by computer. Yeah. We both put on our applications that we didn't like disco music, and the computer put us together, and then years later we were like, I don't even know why I wrote that. But we do have a lot in common. We have the same birthday, for one thing. She's a year younger. And we were both art history majors, and just always had a lot in common. Amy always inspires me. Maybe this is a good moment to tell you the same, because you always just do in life like what your heart is wanting you to do. It seems she went to Paris for a few years. She went to graduate school for a while and decided this is not for me, and she had the guts to leave. And she then made a whole new career for herself in the field of domestic violence after art history. And I just feel like you always just aren't not afraid to go for what feels right and is right for you. And then there's graduate school. Those were very long years for me, a whole decade. And I just want to single out my friend Dora, who's here. Dora was my roommate in Princeton, and she doesn't know this, but she's really one of the main reasons that I wanted to have this party, because I realized I don't think I ever thanked Dora, because I was very sick in graduate school when we came back to live together in our second year. We were friends our first year, and then I got sick that summer. And Dora took care of me my second year in graduate school, and she cooked dinner for me every night, Chinese food, and she would bring me home these little Chinese buns, and she just did it with such grace that she never made me feel like I was being taken care of, that I really was, and I felt like my whole life was falling apart, and to have this friend who was so good to me, that I just wanted her to know after all these years, I've never forgotten it. Thank you so much. And then on to Venice when I felt better. And that's when I met Celia, who's here. And poor Celia, I always talk about her being from Venice, and now she lives in Indianapolis. But I hope she won't mind that for me, there's always a little part of you that's in Venice for me, and that when I think of your beauty and grace, it's all linked to me with the city of Venice, and I hope one day we can go back together. And then after that, I moved to Concord, and I taught for a while with my friend Linda. Where is she? Yes, Linda. Linda was one of my students my first year of teaching at Radcliffe Seminars, really my only year of teaching. And I'm not sure that Linda knows that she was really the one who inspired me to write my book. And I'm not sure that's a good thing or not, but laying on you. So we're walking together in Mount Auburn Cemetery, and I was talking about this idea I had for a book. And I was like, I don't think I'll ever do it. I don't have the time. I'm busy with Ginevra, I'm selling houses, and Linda was like, you should do it. You should, why aren't you doing it? You know what? Like, well, 8 years later, Linda, thank you. But you've always made me feel very appreciated as a teacher, and also as a friend, and I'm grateful that you inspired me in that conversation to pursue my dream/volumes I like to write. And then in Concord, I met my friend Nancy, who's over there. We met on the Concord Historical Commission. And something I think Nancy might not know that I've wanted to tell her for a few years is that I really see her as having jump-started my career. Because when the real estate market started to go sour, I really needed work. And one night, I emailed her asking whether her mom, who was living in assisted living, needed someone to come lead or keep her company. I was just trying to think of some extra little things I could do. And she wrote back and she was like, well, we're all set with that. But my husband's a writer, and he's always looking for editors. And sure enough, I got hired by Nancy's husband at Idea Platforms, and then that job, through various things I won't go into, ultimately really did get me back on a whole new track. thank you for doing that. She didn't know anything about my writing. She just, I don't know why you did it. It was so
Pure confidence.
helpful.
Radiated.
It was a super helpful break I got that really changed things for me. And then finally, my Concord writing group friends, which I think you all had a chance to interact with some of them. These are my newest friends that I made about 5 or 6 years ago. And I know everyone in the group knows about what we do with each other's writing because we talk about it all the time. And that experience has also been so helpful for me teaching writing now. I'm drawing off of so much what we do together in the group, and the trust we create, and how we support each other with our writing and everything. So I think communicate that to my students and get them reading out loud and helping each other with their writing, and I think they enjoyed it. But what I think the group doesn't know about me is that really before I joined the Concord Writers Group, I didn't really feel that settled in Concord. I've been there like maybe 5 years, and I kind of felt like an outsider there. I felt like I really liked it, but I didn't feel like I really kind of fit in. There were like all these churches, and I was like this Jewish atheist, and I felt, I was like this real estate broker, but that wasn't really who I felt very well. I didn't know where I kind of fit, and it was really only after I joined the writers group and got to know this amazing people that I started to feel like actually I had come home, and that it was helpful. So thank you all so much for that. And I guess that's the end of my story. So I guess that's kind of all I had to say, and I don't want people to feel like they have to stay forever, but if any of you have...
I do have one thing to say.
Yes, okay.
I remember vividly meeting you in Concord, and you had right through a beautiful blue jacket. And then I thought, oh my God, look at this woman, she's incredible. And then I read your writing, and I thought, and she's in Venice, one of my favorite cities, and I really am so glad that you joined the group because your imagery stayed with me when I wrote the wall.
I'd like to say that, of course, we all admire Barbara for her great ability to write and her sensitivity and intelligence and so many traits. But one thing I really appreciated when I met Barbara in Venice was her kindness. And something that illustrates that is, I remember we were at a party once, and I was, some silly party, at Strata Nuova with a bunch of people. And there was a song being played, and I was singing along sort of with Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive, and, very nerdily. And I remember Barbara looked at me, and she had this very, sort of almost shocked expression, but very sweet at the same time, and she said, you must really identify with that song. And I thought, how kind of you this way.
I want to read something. Should I read it from here?
Yeah.
A few years ago, you suggested a book by Gail Coleman, Let's Take It a Long Way Home.
Oh, God.
It's a book about friendship, a story about two friends who walk their dogs together in a fresh pond. It's also a book about suffering. I'd known you for about 15 years, and at this point, I didn't realize then that our friendship was changing in some fundamental way when we took our own walks together around the same pond that Gail Coleman took with her friend. Although we had known each other for several years, our friendship intensified about 10 years ago, and you strongly encouraged me to put my name on the Newtown list in case we needed a place for Lila to go to preschool. And as it turned out, I was the last person to get in. And I never would have put my name on that list. I wasn't thinking that way. And I really appreciate that. But because that happened, we became parents together at the Newtown parent club. A new phase of friendship began. I have a vague memory, I'm not even sure this is true, I have a vague memory that your job was the rummage sale at the spring fair.
Oh, God, yes.
And that you said something to me like, I have to sort these grotty clothes, I feel like this is my Latin life.
My Latin?
My lot.
My Latin? That sounds like me.
And just like having a sense of humor about all the tasks we had to do, which were many at this place, which was wonderful, because we worked very hard. During that time, we lived in Cambridge in a really funky apartment. I remember the apartment really well with hardwood floors and your cat all the time. our money group?
Oh God.
Oh.
Yes, we really had a money group, and we used to sit around, talk about how poor we were, and then we'd express our fantasies about making more money and becoming rich.
We did this for a year.
That was a work
It
group.
was actually really fun, and it was quite funny, but I'm not really fully sure what the group was about. But maybe the money group helped you, because you later became a successful realtor and you moved to Concord. Somehow you did that. And even though we visited you for homemade lasagna and wine from a carton, I saw you less and I missed you when you moved. Our families used to visit together on the Cape. I'll never forget a swim we had together in the ocean in Wellfleet on a chilly late afternoon, and we both had that transcendent experience, and you actually wrote about it.
Yeah.
And I still remember the feeling of floating on the waves together long after our hands were tingling because they were so cold, and we were so happy and just really enjoying that moment together. And I don't know anybody else who loves the ocean as much as I do, and I didn't realize till we were reading that story that that was the first time that you truly dove in and loved the ocean. I've always admired the way that you've always been your own person. You've not followed any conventional path or way of being. You've always been like this, even when the rest of us were thinking we need to follow some type of code. It came across in your raw, earthy, and edgy humor, and your rugged but aesthetic attire, your love of animals and gardening. It's what made you decide to be a volunteer in a cat shelter, even though you ended up mostly cleaning the cages, and you told me it made you happy. And it's how you found yourself with a huge unwieldy dog who clearly runs the show. And when you forget your treats on the walk, it's all over.
Yeah.
I think your raw and offbeat openness and wisdom must be in part come from your own suffering. I know that having Lyme disease has been very painful for you, and it's changed your life course and the way that you live in the world on a daily basis. It's also made you the incredible person that you are. And I think that's how our friendship has deepened even more in the last 3 years. Even though we don't see each other that often, we just see each other regularly, you got it when I also suffered during the past 3 years. Something that's quite difficult for most people to get, you got immediately. My suffering brought us together in a new way. You spoke my language. It's not a club that anyone chooses to be a part of, but I'm proud to be a member with you. But when we take our walks, we don't just talk about suffering, we laugh and we appreciate the beauty, and it just feels good. Like I want to keep taking the long way home with you for as long as we can.
That's a beautiful book.
Can I say something? In the dorm there, confronted with this dining hall sea of people that mostly were men, mostly were into their own things, and I thought, oh my gosh, what are we doing here? And one of my very first friends, Barbara, we found each other in the store, and then he said, okay, we're going to go to the dining hall together so we don't have to deal with each other. Fast forward another year, and we're sharing this apartment. And I knew Barbara was sick. She had Lyme disease. I didn't quite understand how sick she was, but anyway, I always admired how strong she was during that. She was taking heavy-duty antibiotics, which I can't tolerate any kind of antibiotics. So she was doing that. She was doing coursework. We were also teaching, and throughout it all, she was always cheerful, and it was a pleasure to cook and have dinner with her and have, packed lunches or whatever we did. And I had a very difficult advisor. And I remember coming home.
Rereading them was that there were glimpses of Barbara then that I think we all know now. So I didn't make any of this up. This is Barbara's own words. So I'm just not, don't worry, I know your mom's here. So and my daughter, your daughter, more importantly, Janelle. So I'm just gonna. I pulled out kind of a couple of themes that we all know Barbara reflects Barbara today, and I'm gonna just share with you a few words about what she wrote about those themes back in the 70s and 80s. Okay, so now this is Barbara now as penning a romantic sort of Casanova type book. I don't even know the title of it. Casanova's right. Okay, so back then in 1981, Barbara wrote me a letter, and the subject line was the title of a book. And she said, here's the title of my book. Excerpts from the new book, How to Cope When Your Tits Are Bigger Than You Are, by Karen Lieberman and Barbara Myers. So as you can see, okay, and then, is that okay? Okay, so this is Barbara as a career woman. So now we know Barbara as a professor, an author, and a real estate guru. This was Barbara talking about her high school summer job. I started my job today. I cannot even begin to tell you how boring it was. I think I have hemorrhoids. All day, I mean 9 hours, I worked to decode diseases for a computer using this disease book. Remember this, Val? So that's about 300 vocabulary words, and you have to define them. It bites. Okay. And then we know Barbara as a cook, now all homemade and gourmet. So this is Barbara another summer at another summer job when she was all excited because they were going to serve like a business lunch. And this is what she wrote. I was expecting shish kebab or even tuna fish, but they served this, and this is in caps, horrible, ghastly, disgusting soup. It was, get this in parentheses, yogurt, cucumber, garlic, mint soup, cold. I almost barfed right at the table. I turned a funny shade of puce. This is why the letters were so long. We got a lot of detail. Okay, I've just got 2 more. So now Barbara as a friend, a friend and wife and mother extraordinaire, always with great advice. And she was writing to me, reassuring me that this horrible summer science program that I went on after she went on, that it would be okay and it would get better. She said, try to be happy, but if the group is weird or disgusting or boring, well then just why bother? My God, Karen, you left about 4 guys here madly in love with you. I'd be miserable leaving too. In fact, I'd probably take the next plane back if I were you. So cheer up, little buckaroo, because I still love you. And finally, this is Barbara on friendship. And I swear this is from, I didn't make any of this up. I brought the proof if anyone wants to check my sources. Your footnotes, right? Right. So now she's 50 and friends to all of us and just friend extraordinaire. So this is what she wrote one summer to me. After we had been apart, I think the whole summer, which for us was a long time. When I think about not seeing you till August, I start to whimper, but I try to perceive a long view of friendship stretching from NCRC to menopause and then way, way beyond.
I don't know. For my disease coding, obviously.
Oh my God.
Happy birthday.
Okay, I'm going to read this card. This is beautiful. I saw this quote the other day when I was trying to think about what to write by Cicero. If you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. Dear Barbara, that quote resonates and makes me think of you. We met in 8th grade and became fast friends, mastering the art of sarcasm, passing notes, and stifling giggles as we tried to stay alert in Mr. Mitchell's insufferably dull social science.
Right.
We swapped stories about coping with family, being teenagers, having crushes on boys, juggling social demands, and sharing a palpable desire to just hurry up and become adults already. I vividly remember the first time I went to your house and saw your bedroom and asked you about the stirring movie poster on your bedroom on your wall. You were stunned that I had neither read the book nor seen the movie Gone with the Wind, and you promptly and patiently gave me an in-depth synopsis, and I was riveted by your passion and understanding of the story's romance and beauty. You tell a great story. Later, we went to different schools. I moved, and life tumbled along. College, grad school, marriage, children. It was wonderful that we weekly overlapped in Ann Arbor. And what a treat and comfort it was to slide so seamlessly back into connection, laughing, open, honest, and easy. Since then, we've seen each other only a handful of times, but it's always the same. Laughter, great wit, easy connection. I've always admired your sense of style and beauty, the twinkle in your eye, and what you observe and how you describe anything, really, from lush romantic gardens, enchanting Italian Renaissance ones in particular, to sharing your idea of the perfect work schedule, which was a 3-hour workday with ample time for naps.
So driven.
Sounds divine. Happy birthday, may you always be well rested. A good book and a beautiful garden close
This is gorgeous. I'm going to pass this around. It's absolutely gorgeous.
So I would like to read something briefly. For those of you who don't know, my mom is probably one of the most caring people you will ever meet. And it's not just with people. I can't tell you how many times we've been out somewhere nice and she will suddenly get this sad look on her face and say something to the extent of, I hope the dog isn't hungry. Or, I bet the cat must be so lonely right now. This happens during movies, at restaurants, even in Hawaii. It's gorgeous. There's tons of stuff to do. It's not much time to think about dogs. No matter what else is going on, she always needs to know that all of her creatures are taken care of, and I've been the recipient of this more times than I can count. She always makes sure I have food, not just any food. It has to be the right kind of food, and always organic and properly made and in just the right amount. I've seen her stand by the window for hours just to see one of the bluebirds she put out a special box for. And I've seen her go out to get wet food for our cat because she likes it better than the dry food. She always goes out of her way to help anyone in our little family who needs it, and I'll always be grateful. So happy birthday, Mom. I promise the dog doesn't miss you too much right now.
So sweet. But she probably does.
Okay. I just want to briefly.
Things that we use to communicate with each other over the airwaves. It's just so wonderful that we are gathered here as people and to share, real people. This is not Skype. We're here, and it's just a very special experience, and in a way that reflects you. You brought this special experience to us, and we all appreciate that.
Thank you. I've had the best time. So any of you who have not turned a certain age yet, I really recommend this. It made it so fun to actually enjoy it. So it was really a great day. Are we all wrapped up? I feel like I've taken so much time with everybody's, but I want to give everyone a hug. Wait, I'll start with you.